That'll work.
And just like that, we're back on the air. Hello again, everybody. This is Jurassic Hustle, a hustle 65 million years in the making. As always, I'm your host, DJ Young Torso.
This is DJ Drix. And we got a show ahead of you for tonight.
Well, we got some doozies ahead of you, boy.
Some doozies.
Some real doozies.
Real doozies. All the doozies in Doozerland, dozing and doozy, and that is what we have to give to you tonight.
Call me Doozy Q, because that's all I got.
That's about it for me too. It is wonderfully warm out right now. 38, 39, 40-ish degrees.
39 degrees. That's like the sex thing. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
I once 39'd because I was all out of 40s.
It's the economical option.
Yeah, honestly, 40s are way more economical. Like you could just
40 ounce bottle of malt liqueur. Is that what you're talking about?
Malt liqueur.
Yeah, that's probably the most economical option because it's basically just all the leave-ins from all the barrels of beer. Like, have you ever been to a frat party and like they leave the keg sitting out all night without ice, and there's just a little bit left in the bottom of the keg?
Wait, is that?
That's where it comes from. They like wipe down the bottom with a sponge. They squeeze it into a bottle, and then when it's full, they put a label on it, and put it out on the shelf.
Funny.
I wish I was joking. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, no, I've always noticed 40s do taste worse than like a can.
Well, yeah, no, because it's just somehow even cheaper light beer.
Yeah, which is impressive on its own.
It really is a marvel of marvel of modern medical science.
A marvel of movies, of Disney's, of medical science.
If it were a History Channel show, it'd be Modern Marvels.
Oh, very nice.
I don't know if you kids these days remember that, but back in the day, History Channel used to have stuff about history.
They would have things you could learn about, like math and science and history.
I love the cop-out like catchphrase that's like, I love the cop-out that's the History Channel's new slogan. When like people complain that all their stuff is just that has nothing to do with history, it's History Channel. History's made every day.
Are you serious?
That's the cop-out.
Are you friggin' serious?
No, it's cool. We can have 15 different shows about ice road truckers and dudes just, going dumpster diving for artifacts because history's made every day.
You've got to be kidding. That's a real thing.
Yeah, that's the slogan of the History Channel.
Oh my god. You've got to be kidding me. Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
I just assumed they were poor and had... No, they're rolling with it.
No.
These are the punches that they want, and they're rolling with every single one of them.
I can't wait for the History Channel's first reality TV show, which I'm sure is going to happen
It doesn't already have one?
No, not yet.
Oh.
They'll get one, though.
I'm sure... No, they will. And they will change it. History is being made right now.
History right now.
History Live.
Watch it. The History Channel is just going to get the rights to the real world and just bring it back.
Yeah. Speaking of terrible movies and videos, are you familiar with a show that I just recently became acquainted with, Mystery Science Theater 3000?
I am well aware of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I had literally never heard of it.
Oh,
until
boy. Are you watching the new ones or the originals?
Both.
Ooh.
I did not hear about it until literally this weekend when I was hanging out with DJ D Grant 420 YOLO, and I don't really have a name for him.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Call him DJ Ratchet and Dank. But no. Anyway, hanging out with actually two teachers. They're both real adults now. But anyway, we were hanging around and we stumbled upon MXC, if you remember that. MXC. So it was It was kind of the original Ninja Warrior. And so what would happen is they do some kind of Japanese game show, usually kind of dangerous.
Oh, most extreme challenge, right?
Yeah.
Yo, I remember that.
And then they dub over top of it. And I had never heard of that either. And so this is a lot like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That used to be on G4. I remember that. That was one of those shows I watched when that was still a channel.
G4 was the best.
Man, not really.
You didn't like G4? That was where American Ninja Warrior started.
Well, I mean, I liked certain parts of it. Like, I like that stuff, but just like the video, like, this is the video game channel. That's how I remember it.
I really liked it because of that.
And then that's where Jessica Chobot got her unholy start. Anyway, but yeah, I stumbled across then that, and then so we watched Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That is my new favorite show.
I figured you would
Holy
like it.
crap. That is everything I love about the world in a show.
It's pretty great.
Dude,
You ever get like that to that point where it's like you kind of wish you were just watching the movie though?
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Because it's like I actually would love to watch these really terrible
movies
without this commentator.
Some of the riffing is well done. Other parts of it, while still funny, are too constant, and you can't even really tell what's going on.
That's the thing. Because like there's like it depends on like what episodes you're watching.
Yep.
Some are really good.
Some are really good. I've seen of the new season. I've seen all the like hits of the old one throughout the years.
Because I think my favorites were like This Island Earth was one of my favorites. One that they riffed on.
Yeah, there was one. It was about. I think it was just called Bigfoot. It was like the second episode of the new series. I was crying. I was absolutely crying.
Was the Reptilicus episode?
That's the first one.
But what's crazy about that is I don't know if I still do, but I used to have a VHS copy of that movie.
No way.
I used to watch it as a kid, Reptilicus.
I actually still haven't finished the Mystery Science version of it because the first time I watched a little bit of it and I fell asleep. But last night I actually watched it on my Wii U on the little screen because I don't have a TV in my room.
Because you're a Nintendo fanboy.
I am. But I don't have a TV in my room because I keep it downstairs for people who want to play PS4 online. And so my TV is downstairs, so I just have my Wii U upstairs, and I just watch the little screen. I can watch Netflix on it. And so
only Netflix, I'm sure.
What do you mean? I can also play Nintendo video games off it. Because the world's a good place, and it doesn't have other bad things. It doesn't have bad things at all. Other bad things are bad.
I wouldn't call them bad things, but I mean, you can play Bayonetta 2 on there, I guess, so that's kind of the same thing.
I have Bayonetta 2
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
But anyway, yeah, that show is something else. I was crying laughing. One of my favorite scenes is from the new one. One of the main character of the Bigfoot movie is some little kid named Paul, and so like one of the first scenes, the guy goes Paul, and the guy riffs, "I love your letter your letter to the Corinthians," and I was crying laughing, and I was like, "This is already going to be my favorite thing." And I realize now
there are some real good bits.
Oh my gosh, there was one last night too that I was. They were hitting riffs one after the other. And I was already in, like, verge of crying. And then these army guys show up in the scene in Reptilicus. And they're all, like, vaguely Nazi saluting. And he goes, Heil Hitler! And, like after this entire scene, I'm absolutely crying at this point. I don't think I've laughed so hard in my life. And I've made it through 3 or 4 episodes because they're long. They're the whole movie.
It's the whole movie, so.
But, oh my gosh, that's my new favorite thing. Plus, I didn't realize Felicia Day is in it.
She's one of the villainesses, I guess.
Felicia Day is one of my all-time crushes. I didn't know who her name was, but I knew she was in. I'd seen here and there episodes of The Guild. I watched it very rarely.
Actually, I've watched the whole series a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
And I love Dr. Horrible's
Sing along.
That one. The girl. She's the girl in that.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I don't really get the whole hype. It's funny.
I think it's like making fun of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It is. No,
which is already a meme. So I mean,
it's meme on meme.
Seems kind of redundant.
But I like Neil Patrick Harris a lot, and I like what's his name, guy who's in Castle,
Guy Fieri.
Yes. A lot, and she's in that, and I was just always like, wow, this fox right here. And then I see her as like one of the main characters in the new Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I'm like, I'm sold. This is everything I love.
It's interesting you say that because I used to be into Felicia Day, but as time has gone on, I've been like, not really. Which is weird because she's a redhead.
I find her more attractive now than she used to be.
Because I thought she was attractive at like the beginning of the Guild, but I guess just watching the Guild, I got really fed up with her.
Yeah.
Just her character.
Yeah,
it's one of those situations where you
sucks.
can't separate the character from the person.
Yeah,
so.
which I watched very little of the Guild, but I saw her in Mr. Horrible and then in this. And she's in her 30s, but I thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Wait. But
yeah,
no, that show is I sit here wondering like where has that been all my life? I had never even heard of that show ever, absolutely ever, and it was like this is everything. Like people who know me should have introduced me to this.
I guess everybody who knew you just assumed
I watched it. Yeah.
No, but I couldn't get over the whole Reptilicus episode because, like, I do have very strong because I remember that movie.
Remember the movie
beat for beat.
See, I feel like I've seen that movie too. unless there's another movie like it.
I think the reason I watched it so much as a kid is because I was like 5 maybe, and I couldn't tell the difference between that and Godzilla, and I was like, yeah, big dinosaur. Godzilla, there it is. Yeah, big dinosaur. I like it.
Man.
Actually, speaking of celebrity crushes, you know who like I've been really getting into is Lucy Lawless.
Is that
from Xeno Warrior Princess?
I don't know what that is.
Oh man, she's I forget how old she is now, but
we went on a whole bit too because
she's 49 right now and she looks good.
Me and the teachers played the first half of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Oh, yeah.
And the paramedic, the person does the saving and stuff like that, and all of the medical stuff. I was getting excited.
Wouldn't she be a little bit too polygonal at this point? Isn't that a PS2 game?
No, it's the HD remake.
She's got like all
it's PS3,
like jagged breasts.
Okay. Anyway, let's shut this conversation down now.
Let's talk about something way more appropriate. We had a conversation earlier about dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. Back to the other conversation.
Oh, come on. I want to. There's all this stuff going on with dinosaurs, and I just we had a conversation. Never mind. I don't even want to talk about it. Actually, just how do dinosaurs bone?
In a museum.
And we're back. Hello again, everybody. This is Jurassic Hustle, a hustle 65 million years in the making. As always, I'm your host, DJ Tyrannosaurus Cloaca.
Fair enough. This is your host, DJ Drix. And we are back from a little bit of break. Had some, about a millisecond of the bleachers going on there, but mostly Bowling for Soup, 1985.
Are they bowling for Soup, or are they bowling on behalf of Soup?
I feel like I've seen that on Reddit.
I just stole that joke wholesale.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mind of Mencia. As always, I'm...
My favorite thing is, you know what the album that song is on?
What?
The name of it?
What?
It's A Hangover You Don't Deserve. And that is one of my favorite album names of all time.
What's album is this for?
For Bowling for Soup.
That
album. I mean, Bowling for Soup is hilarious.
I thought we were talking about Carlos Mencia.
Oh no, he does. He deserves every hangover he's ever received.
I'm embarrassed by how much I laughed at that show.
I mean, when I was young, I laughed at Jeff Dunham really hard.
Oh my god, yeah, I think every child went through a phase where Jeff Dunham was their favorite comedian.
That, and honestly, there was one specific bit that what's his face had. The unanimously worst comedian ever.
Amy Schumer?
Okay, second worst. What was his name?
It's not like Dane Cook you're thinking.
Dane Cook.
Really?
There was one bit he had that I laughed at really hard.
I used to think Dane Cook was pretty hilarious too.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we were kids.
We didn't know any better.
We didn't know any better, but
once I was 7 years old, my mama told me that Dane Cook likes to steal other people's jokes.
But Hangover You Don't Deserve, and the album by Eagles of Death Metal, Death by Sexy, is my other favorite album title.
That's a really good album name.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of both of those.
My favorite album name is The Wreck of the Young 97.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it. Let's throw a shout out. Wreck of the Young 97 is a local band here. That's the album for the band Free Food, who we are personally acquainted with.
Good friends of ours.
Good friends of ours. And actually, if you want to catch Free Food live this weekend on Friday, no one's listening to this, but you are. We are throwing a party.
I think I do have some friends listening, and I did already invite them to the party on Facebook.
Fair enough. 9:30. I actually need to put that on the info for the party.
You don't want people showing up at 7.
Well, no. 9:30 is when Free Food is starting to play, but the actual party begins at 10.
Oh, ooh.
So a little bit of time for people to, responsibly enjoy things.
Yeah,
liqueurs.
So, anyways, back with comedians. It's kind of weird. Just some of those comedians just completely dropped off the radar. Whatever happened to Mencia?
I think he was basically blacklisted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was he just blacklisted and then they just dropped his show? Because
I don't really know. I mean, it's not like he ended on a good note.
I mean, because I think joke stealing is the most heinous crime you can commit in the comedian community.
Oh yeah, even vague is pretty bad.
or even just accusing somebody is pretty bad. Because I remember there was before the target practice unpleasantness, Louis C.K. on his show.
Target practice life lessons.
I'm gonna get slammed for that one. I already regretted that line, but
no, that's funny.
But
that's, good way of putting
no,
it.
but yeah, he had an episode where he talks about where he's trying to get his daughter tickets to see Dane Cook, and like Dane Cook won't give them to him because he accused him of stealing jokes.
Really?
Yeah, like Dane Cook was mad at him for it.
Wow.
But
that's
yeah,
really
because
funny.
that was because that happened a lot with Dane Cook because he got accused of stealing jokes. Yeah, Carlos Mencia, Amy Schumer, but she still hasn't crashed and burned yet, which I'm upset about.
You can't crash and burn something that's already burning. That's my...
She's got another movie coming out.
It's literally, she's so bad, no one cares that she's doing these things, because she takes the jokes and makes them worse.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's got her own joke because of how bad she makes it.
I watched a couple of videos that were just like doing side-by-side her telling jokes and then other better comedians telling the same joke that she stole from. She had the balls, the proverbial balls, of course, to steal jokes from Dave Chappelle.
Yep, Dave Chappelle.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the king of comedy.
The king of comedy.
I would say the king.
Hey, Amy, you know Dave Chappelle, the person who also had a Comedy Central show that was actually good.
Yeah, I would say the king of comedy right now is Chappelle. Now that he's come back.
Well, yeah, now Chappelle's back.
Because I would say CK was at the top of the game for the longest time, but the whole allegations thing and
the unpleasantness.
Yeah, the unpleasant that he actually did definitely ruined that for him.
I also really... Oh, man, who else am I thinking? When I was younger, I also used to really like Louis Black. I don't know if you ever saw him. Yeah.
I don't know him, but I don't know any of his stand-up, but I've heard of him.
Yeah, I used to think he was hilarious. Because I think I've always gravitated towards like angry comedians, I guess.
Like a Burr?
Is the sub... Yeah, Burr is hilarious.
Yeah. No, Bill Burr's good.
Oh, my God.
My favorite bit of his is... I can't remember the whole context now, but he's talking about his dog... And it was something of like training for his dog. And at the very end, he's like, "This is what we play for." And like I've used that line hundreds of times since.
Oh God!
It's one of Bill's real older stuff, like maybe his first or second.
It's like one of my favorite clips of Burr was he was on Conan O'Brien's show and he's talking about Lance Armstrong and he's like, "I don't see what the big deal. I don't see what the problem is." He's like, "Our roided up guy beat your roided up guy."
Yeah. Which is true. And have you seen it's like the Race to Pharmacy or something like that? What is it called?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
It's Andy Samberg and kind of his crew, and it's making fun of the whole doping, the blood doping thing amongst the bicycle community. It is so good. It is so... Tour de Pharmacy. That's what it is.
Is it Tour de Pharmacy?
Tour de Pharmacy. Oh my gosh. It is... one of the funniest pieces of parody I've ever seen. And then they also did another one with, I believe, tennis, which I didn't see.
Like people are doping for tennis?
No, just tennis players in general.
I was going to say, I'm like, come on, it's tennis. I don't think it's that intense.
I love... Speaking of doping, did you hear about the most recent Russian scandal?
Oh yeah, the Russians aren't allowed to walk under the Russian flag because they got caught doping last Olympics.
No, but you know what they caught doping with?
What?
The curling people.
Why?
Yeah, the people doing curling.
Now, disclaimer.
Please Google it. Prove me wrong.
Disclaimer.
But I'm pretty sure I saw that.
I have never done curling before in my life, mostly because I think it looks absolutely ridiculous, and I don't understand why it's a sport in the Olympics. All right. They were about to cut wrestling. Wrestling was going to get cut from the Olympics when curling is still a thing. What? What countries do curling?
It's cold ones.
It's Canada crushes it every year. What's the point? Canada's like, our athletes, we feel pretty sore about never winning. So why don't we just add a couple more events just for us, eh? That's what curling is. Curling is just so Canada doesn't have to... Curling is the participation trophy of the Olympics for Canadians. Seriously. And no, I'm still mad about the wrestling thing. Like, they were going to cut wrestling. You know how much extra chaff there is in the Olympics? Speed walking is an Olympic event.
Wait, what?
Speed walking. I swear to God, that's a thing.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I swear to God, this is a thing. Speed walking. I remember hearing about
Those
this.
people have to have terrible shin splints.
We could, if anything, if all else fails, just cut out all of swimming. Nobody actually cares about swimming.
I care about swimming.
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, that's like the only part of the Olympics I watch.
The only parts I ever watch are like judo, wrestling, and powerlifting.
I watch all the sprints, the mid distances, and the swimming.
But seriously, anyways, out of all the sports you could have doped for, think about it. You're only going to get away with one. You're going to get away with one sport to dope in, and then as soon as they discover like anywhere else, they're shutting it all down. So you got to be sneaky about the one. Why waste your one freebie on curling? What do you need to dope for? What do you even?
That's my question. What are you doping for?
What are you doping with? Like, I don't understand.
Probably just like
You're sweeping really hard. That's all you're doing.
Well, it's also the person that tosses it. I assume amphetamines would probably be the only.
Curling is you rub the ice really hard until it melts, and then your puck slides. That's what curling is.
Do you?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I thought they just clean the ice in front of it so there's less friction.
Yeah, and you're melting it, so it's like sort of slides. I think that's what it is. I don't even know. Who cares? It's curling. I could say anything about curling. Nobody knows. Nobody actually cares about curling.
No one unless they're actually from Canada or I assume Russia.
My grandmother is from Windsor. I've never heard her once talk about curling.
Yeah.
Like there's so many other sports you could have done it with. Granted, it is the Winter Olympics, which I think is like the weaker.
It's the weaker Olympics. No, it is.
It's the weaker of the two.
Definitely the weaker of the two.
Because like, what do you got? Like most everything in the Winter Olympics relies on some sort of outside equipment and not just your own athleticism. Like you got bobsled, you got slalom,
luge.
You got the luge.
Which I love the word. Hate the sport.
Bobsled's like the only Winter Olympic event that I know and care about.
I would say
because of Cool Runnings. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't actually care about who or what is the best bobsled team in the world. Cool Runnings was a really good movie.
I do have to say,
Cool Runnings is my favorite sports movie.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I would say figure skating also has a special place in my heart. That requires so much coordination.
I know. I understand. I think it's very impressive that these people are able to skate so well. I think it is a really impressive and admirable thing. And these are a lot of young people with a lot of talent and athleticism. I don't care about skating, though.
That's fair. I would say out of the Winter Olympics, I watch bobsled. I love bobsled. And I occasionally watch figure skating just because it's so impressive. Like, I guess it's for me as someone who was for some reason good at baseball but bad at everything else because he was uncoordinated. Seeing a coordinated sport like that makes me happy. Like,
I guess part of my problem is that it's always been my issue is like if a sport doesn't have like person on person conflict, I don't like it. Like I don't like.
No, that's totally fair.
Like I think it's boring to watch. Like basketball. Like I like watching basketball, but that's like as far as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
like, basketball's a bit boring for me. I like jumping right to hockey.
Well,
I actually like hockey quite a bit.
Like the weirdest part is I like watching basketball more than football because I think football's too slow.
Really?
I think football is really slow, and all they ever do is pass, and I hate passing. And yeah, but
see, I don't like watching basketball.
I don't know what it is. I think it's like what you said, where it was the one thing I could never do as a kid.
Yeah,
because I'm absolute garbage at basketball, and just like seeing people who are good at it.
See, mine's the opposite. I was always really bad at basketball, and for that reason, I hate it.
I have memories in high school. Like sophomore year in gym class. They were making us play basketball, and I remember like the varsity football coach was there with like some of the varsity players making them run sprints and stuff. And I remember going up to him and asking, "Coach, can I run with you guys, please? I don't want to play basketball."
Yeah,
it just isn't fun.
Anything is No, that's how I am with it too.
Yeah, so it's like I like watching rugby, basketball. My friend Goldberg got me into like judo and stuff.
I've never seen any of that stuff.
That's sweet to watch. That stuff's cool to watch. That's awesome. But just curling. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a few sports I think we could remove for better ones.
Russia's really gone downhill.
Yeah.
Well, like, they should take out curling and just put in, like, stick fighting. Or hockey fights.
Because it's the bear wrestle.
The hockey fights. That's what it is. That's the event. Not hockey, because hockey's already there. Just the
sticks.
Fights. Just the fights.
No, they give them sticks, and they just let them go.
I think that's lacrosse.
Got me there. Ice lacrosse. Lacrosse on ice. I like lacrosse on ice a lot.
Hey, you guys want to play some field hockey on an ice rink?
Lacrosse on ice? Oh, man.
So Olympics, those are happening.
I don't know why this made me think of this, but do you watch any John Oliver?
No.
I
can't stand political humor.
I have a love-hate relationship with John Oliver. I love political humor. Not the obvious, Trump did this, but I was always a huge fan of The Colbert Report. Like, I loved The Colbert Report. Probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
I always hear that from people.
Jon Stewart, obviously, classic, legend, whatever you want to call it. And John Oliver I like quite a bit because I think he is a very good nerd in sheep's clothing. We'll call it that. I think that if his job was not to do the night show or daily show or whatever, he'd be beaten up and just lunch money taken as a full grown adult.
Oh, I'm sure it happens
on a
anyways.
daily. Yeah,
I'm sure like he's about to get like bullied, and they're like, "Oh, it's John Oliver. Let's bully him harder."
let's hit him harder." Anyway, I like him as a person. I don't like his show because I'll admit I would probably identify best as a liberal. I'm left leaning, but he goes a little far sometimes in terms of ideal, and some of his jokes are very repetitive. Like he says the same joke 3 times and it's funnier the third time for some reason.
Well, that's the thing. Like I don't like political humor in general, and I especially just don't like it now, just because it's like it's the lowest hanging. The way I described it once as saying political humor is to adults what fart jokes are to kindergartners.
Yep,
it's just an easy way to get laughs.
But that being said, I would advise you to watch his most recent one that came out last night. It's #1 trending on YouTube. And most of his stuff always is, but this one was especially good, and it was unfortunately about Trump. But
what else is he gonna do it on at this point?
But the way he presented it was fantastic, and he was talking about the soft power of a nation. So the soft power is essentially the brand of a nation. So if your nation is known for something, that's kind of its brand, and that's how you interact with other countries. Right. And he was talking about how Germany was like, we really can't depend on outside nations anymore. We as Europe, and we especially as Germany, to be kind of the power. And right now they're the leading.
I like.
They're the leading country.
I like where this is going.
It was funny because
like
they were talking, and John was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." But one of the German officials had this to say, and he goes, "When people talk about power in Europe, we can no longer rely on the Americans. But when we tell people Germany would be a strong power, they're like, yes, but they are worried about the last time the Germans were the power of Europe." Or something to that effect. And I was crying. I was in the tutoring office, and there was actually another tutor there, DJ Mabel, was sitting at the table next to me, and she's like, "What is so funny?" And I was like, "You gotta watch this."
It's funny because she talks like that.
It really is. That is how she talks. Shout out DJ Mabel. Friends.
See, like when the UK leaving the EU, that's not a big deal. Germany leaves the EU, then it's time to get worried.
Yeah. No, and the other thing, it wasn't like necessarily them talking about Trump. It was talking about the other countries doing their parody version of Trump. And the best part too was the one at the end. It's just like it was Russian, and it was a Russian comedian. He's like, I'm friends with the Russians. I would say I like the Russians, but you can never prove it. And he pulls out his cell phone, and the ringtone is in Russian, but goes, "Trump is my best friend. Trump is my..." Or no, Putin. Sorry, it's talking about relations between Trump and Putin. And Putin goes, "Putin is my best friend. Putin is supposed to be Trump." Yeah. And it's funny until they pan to the audience, and you just see a smiling Putin in the audience.
What?
I kid you not.
They got Putin there?
Yeah, he was just seeing a comedy, and it was the first time I've ever seen Putin smile. And it was funny because John was like, "See, we finally figured out what Putin's sense of humor is. It's not, fart jokes, inappropriate humor. No, it's seeing something kind of happen at fruition. You've messed with their election, but no one can really blame you. That's Putin's sense of humor."
I thought you were going to say, like, that comedian was later sent to a gulag.
No, we'll have to watch the scene really quick. I'm going to run on a commercial. This is that band I talked about earlier, Death by Sexy. Eagles of Death Metal. This is High Voltage.
It opens right on time.
We'll get him next time.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time. This is Jurassic Hustle. A hustle 65 million years in the making. As always, I am your host, DJ Clocka.
I just looked...
Which is how an Australian person would say cloaca.
Anyway, DJ Drix, I just clicked the mic buttons, and I swear I clicked them once, and they turned off.
There's a ghost in the studio.
So, no, I just wondered if they were on that whole time.
No.
But I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. We would have heard ourselves coming through the speakers.
No, they weren't on.
Weird. Anyway.
There's a ghost in the studio, and he hates our content.
Yeah, okay, let's be real. It's not just ghosts.
It's ghosts and stuff.
And stuff.
Like the famous song by Dead Mao 5, who is a communist, as many of us know.
Wait, what?
His name is Dead Mao.
Oh, ba-doom boom ching. Historical reference. Ding.
What?
Where's the bell?
It's right here.
There we go.
I have the conch.
Yeah? Do you? Oh, man. Hey, it's 40 degrees now.
Oh, 40 degrees. It's finally gone up in temperature. Did you ever read Lord of the Flies?
I did, actually.
Speaking
It
of
was
the
a
conch.
long time ago, though.
I tried to read it once because my parents told me I'd be into it, but I couldn't get into it. It was kind of boring.
Read it in high school. I don't remember if I think it was like out of a list of books we could read, and I wanted it because I assumed frogs that ate flies, and so I liked frogs.
Oh my god, your childhood gets sadder every time I hear about it.
I know.
You didn't even go into it because you heard about kids fighting other kids for control of an island. You got into it because you thought frogs were in it.
I really like frogs.
I hate frogs.
How do you dislike frogs?
They're just stupid.
No.
It's just like an inferior lizard.
No, it is not.
I hate all amphibians, honestly.
Really?
They're just inferior reptiles.
They're so like ecologically competent.
I have to lay my eggs in the water because I don't understand how eggshells work.
Yeah, but it's able to be a species in both water and on Earth, and depending on the...
Yeah, but it can't go without water. Yeah, we can go on land or in water, but we better be near the water. It's not actually that adaptable.
They can breathe through their skin.
Yeah, only when it's wet, so you better pray to God there isn't a drought. Any animal that can get killed by the weather is considered weak in my book. And I don't mean like hurricanes. Obviously, nothing can really survive that. I'm talking like regular weather. Like it's kind of hot out today. I think I'm just gonna die.
Fair enough. I guess if you want to include all of reptiles, like frogs are pretty mobile. Salamanders are very good at like blending in their environment and stuff like that.
Worse. Salamanders don't have anything going for them.
But there's Sicilians. Or Caecilians, I think is how you say it. Not Sicilians, Lord.
Oh, Sicilians are the worst. Of
No, but Caecilians are literally like legless amphibians. That's another like branch. There's basically frogs, salamanders / newts, and then there's these Caecilians.
Toads too.
Oh, frogs and toads, yeah. But
wow, somebody who's in the frogs as much as you don't even know the
I don't like toads. I like frogs.
You don't even know the difference between frogs and toads.
There's actually a tremendous amount of differences. Regardless, look up Caecilians. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know how to spell
on there. Caecili or Cill.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this lad.
It's just a snake.
Yeah, it's a snake, but it also has to have all the properties of the other one. And it has no scales.
Oh, this is the worst. This is the worst.
Literally the worst amphibian.
This is the worst.
And most
animal.
don't have eyes.
What is the point? How did this survive?
That's my question.
It just looks like an earthworm.
Yep, I don't understand those things.
That's a bad animal.
They don't deserve to exist.
That's a bad animal. Look, I'm not one to
Caecilians made me interested in eugenics.
I'm not one to advocate for the destruction of species, but it's just dead weight.
This is taking up space.
It's just dead. There's more important things you can put there. Yeah, no, but like really it goes from like frogs are the best amphibians because they can do stuff.
Yeah.
Salamanders are pretty mediocre because they just sort of sit under rocks. And then these things, which I didn't even know is a whole nother bottom. It just adds a whole nother rung to the bottom of the ladder.
I'm going to actually, as much as I love frogs, I'm going to put toads above them. Because toads are just frogs, but they're poisonous.
Toads are frogs that can actually survive away from water.
Yeah.
Which makes them better.
Yeah, no, toads kind of, they're doing better, to be honest.
That to be said, that doesn't mean they get any mercy from me. I've still hit plenty of toad with my lawnmower.
I feel like any animal that's smaller than the lawnmower is hit by the lawnmower.
Well, no, some animals I'll go around. I don't go around toads.
Oh, you're saying in general, your mercy. But
I go around birds and I say I am a generous god.
And then there's newts, which are essentially just...
It's just a salamander, isn't it?
It's a salamander that lives in the water. It's an aquatic salamander. Fully aquatic.
Oh, yeah, well.
So would you say that's better or worse?
At least it's committing to one. It depends how good of a swimmer are newts.
Very good swimmers.
All right, then I'm cool with them. It's basically a fish at that point.
Yeah, fair enough. And then we have our axolotls.
Those also get a pass just because they look dumb enough.
They're cool.
I'll allow it.
I like axolotls a lot, especially since they live in like caves and stuff. Like they have a very niche environment.
Yeah.
I wanted a pet axolotl for the longest time.
God, again, it's just sadder every time. Most children want.
This was as an adult. This is like last year. I wanted this.
I wanted like a dog, but like I've never even the smallest I've gone is like, oh, it'd be sick. It's getting like a monitor lizard.
You say that until they're terrible pets.
Oh yeah, no, I know they are. There's this one species of monitor that I can't remember the name of. They get huge. Oh god, what are they called?
Chinese water dragon.
No. It's Tengu.
Oh, Tengu. Oh, literally the most vicious reptile in the animal kingdom.
Tengus are the coolest looking.
They are also literally the most aggressive reptile in the animal kingdom.
I watched several videos on YouTube of these people with pet Tengus, and I'm like, God, these things look so cool.
Yeah, those things...
They're so labor intensive, but they look...
They would not blink twice to just eat you if they had the chance.
Guess what? He can try. Unlike most animal lovers, I have no qualms about murdering an animal if it gets in my way.
I guess. I think the scariest animal I've always wanted a bearded dragon quite a lot.
Okay, so I looked up. Oh, Tegu. It's Tegu. Tengu is the Japanese thing.
Oh, Tegu.
Tengus are like these like bird demons.
Oh, I mean that'd be a cool pet too.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the one pet I do not understand. It's friggin' birds.
Yeah, birds, because it's like
they're not cute. They smell awful and they're loud.
Well, birds are like I heard a bit about this on a podcast actually. To paraphrase it, it's that all animals are more or less prisoners. I mean, like all pets are more or less prisoners. Birds are the most blatant ones.
Yeah,
because you have to keep.
Because you keep them in a cage.
You keep it in a cage. And, like, when the bird gets uppity, you throw a blanket over it. Now, if it's something smart like a parrot, that's kind of cool.
I guess.
But even then, like, they crap everywhere.
Yeah, no, birds are so gross.
Yeah, I don't, like, you can't pet it.
Yeah.
All you can do is teach it to say, like, slurs.
Yeah, slurs.
And
no,
I would say that's only fun until you have house guests over.
Actually, the only... How stupid... thing just changed all my... I had just a bunch of songs lined up and
that's what you get for planning ahead, baby.
Yeah. But I would say like the only animal that isn't truly domesticated of like anything or isn't a prisoner in a house is a cat. Because cats
that's why cats suck.
Cats live there because it is advantageous to them.
Yeah.
If it was not, the cat will leave.
Yeah, that's why
I hate cats.
No, I still always say the dogs are always better than cats any day of the week.
We grew up with dogs. Human beings would not exist without dogs in the same.
Like dogs, yeah, because human beings and dogs basically like go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And like dogs got to the point where like domestication or not, dogs kind of love us.
Yeah.
Like you could say like, oh, it's just because you feed them and you take care of them, but no, but like dogs
no,
love people.
They are genetically predisposed. We chose dogs that were the most friendly to humans because we wouldn't pick the feral ones.
And part of it is just, and it's like, oh, it's because dogs are pack animals. Well, yeah.
So are humans.
Pack animals are more sociable. Pack animals.
Yeah.
That's why cats suck. It's because cats don't live in groups.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're like a lion.
Yeah, well, we get along with them because they're probably the biggest, smartest pack animal that we could like keep near us. Like obviously an elephant is like also the same, but you can't fit an elephant anywhere.
Yeah, part of like dogs were like kept around because they're good for hunting, and also I think dogs have a higher core temperature than humans. They're actually
really
like that's part of why Like when you're laying next to a dog, you're like, oh, this feels really nice. This is really warm. It's because dogs actually do have a higher core temperature than humans.
Really? I never knew that.
By like a degree or two, I think.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, so it's like they're naturally like, oh, I want to keep this animal near me.
Yeah, plus dogs usually have rather thick fur.
Yeah, they're just oh man, dude, I love hugging dogs.
God, you're the worst type of person.
I
love dogs.
I like dogs. I can't help it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I like dogs too, but
it's sort of like you know when you run into a girl and her biological clock's ticking away, and she gets all baby crazy on you. When
yes.
like say you're
I realize this is a thing.
Say you're with a girl and you guys are watching Baby Geniuses, and all she's like, oh man, I really want to have a baby now. It's sort of like that, but with dogs for me, where like I'll see a dog do something cute, and I'm like,
See, the problem, my biggest beef with dogs is I don't think unless I had a family or I lived alone, I would ever get one.
Oh no, that's the thing too. It's like I want to get a dog. I am mature enough to know that I
cannot.
I am not responsible enough, nor am I in the proper environment for the kind of dog I want to get.
Yep. I would say for any dog, if you can't devote a significant amount of your day to a dog, you shouldn't get a dog.
That's a problem with a lot of people. Is like they think, oh, my life sucks. Oh, I'll get a dog. That'll make things better. It's like, no, it doesn't.
You're just making life worse.
You're
for
making
the dog.
it harder, and not only are you making yourself more miserable, you're inflicting misery on this animal.
Yeah. Where a cat is a perfect choice because it just exists.
Where a cat, you can just kick it, no problem.
Are you referring to the other day?
Are you ever tell you this about the time that I accidentally kicked my cat?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other day when Peter kicked the crap out of James by accident.
I remember that. I remember him telling me that. No, I tried to because like
James is my cat, by the way.
Richard used to live with us, my cat.
Richard Nixon,
and he would always like lay right in my path, like I'm trying to I'm carrying something and he's right in my way.
Yep.
And I'm like, and even when you get really close to him, he won't move. So what I used to do is just fake out kicking him.
Yeah.
And like I would do the kicking motion, and
he'd
run. One day he didn't run, and I hit him pretty good, like square in the side, and he goes "Row," and he runs away.
The cat noise. Meow. Meow. Sound like Shy Guy from Super Mario. Meow.
I was like, oh god, I'm so sorry. But deep down, I wasn't sorry.
You just look, there's two halves of a cat. Oh, that was powerful.
I used to play soccer back in the day. I got a pretty good kick. Yeah, I remember like when I was in like 5th grade, I played soccer. I wasn't particularly good. Like I never passed or anything. Like,
but I was strong.
They put me on the team just because I had a hell of a boot. Like
fair, very fair.
And I remember like one time at soccer practice, like I kicked the ball from one end of the field all the way to the other.
Yeah.
and then they just put me at goalie. But I remember.
You'd be an intimidating goalie.
Yeah, they put me there because I covered the goal. This is like little league soccer, but
we're talking pure mass here.
But there was one time I wasn't at goal, and we were playing like a girls' team in a scrimmage, and I go to kick the ball, and obviously I don't understand subtlety.
Oh no!
Like for me, it's either I don't kick or I kick as hard as possible. So I go to kick the ball, and the girl passes it out of the way. My leg is still going. I can't stop.
You can't stop it.
I'm in 5th grade. I don't have the muscles developed to arrest this sort of like momentum. I kicked the girl full force in the shin. She's wearing a shin guard, but I swear to God, I cracked it. like you could feel, like she could feel it, and she's like, she was limping off the field. And she's like, that kid kicked me. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have moved the ball, dingus.
No, correction. That kid destroyed me.
Yeah, oh man, you want to talk about shin splints?
Yeah, no, I ran cross country my senior year on 2 broken legs because I had shin splints severely to the point of actual like bone splints in both legs. I ran on 8 ibuprofen that day.
Yeah, that's why, Dom, it's cross country, win or lose. You don't have to push yourself like that.
It was important to me at the time.
I don't want to be that guy, but it's one of those sports nobody cares.
Yeah,
it's like bowling.
You're right.
Oh God!
To be honest, if bowling was in the Olympics, I'd watch.
I will say cross country is probably one of the hardest sports I've ever seen. I will give you that.
Yeah.
It actually, I would never do it because I hate running. But oh God, I hate bowling so much. I hate that bowling's a sport. Like I don't have any problem with bowling itself.
Bowling is a pastime. It is not a sport.
I hate that I know people who have gotten college scholarships for bowling.
Bowling and ping pong are about on even levels for me. They are things you do in someone's basement.
Yeah. It's a game. It's not
Yeah.
a sport. There's not. You ever see professional bowlers? You know what they look like? They look like John Goodman from Big Lebowski. They're not athletic men.
See, I all I think of is like bowling like gives you a scholarship to college. Like you play Sorry the board game really well and get a scholarship to college. Like they're both games.
I'm so angry about it. Like every time I think about it, because I'm like, and like I was with some friends and I was talking about how much I hated it, and one of their girlfriends was like, "Hey, I bowled in high school," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're useless to society. You bring nothing to the table." But anyways,
But do you know how much money she got for her scholarship?
no.
$3,005.
And we back again. Hello, everybody. This is Jurassic Hustle, a hustle 65 million years in the making. As always, I am your host, DJ Laundry Sauce.
I mean, Joe's DJ Drix. I wasn't expecting the laundry sauce.
That's my favorite meme. That was the original Tide Pod.
Yeah, laundry sauce. Well, there was a one about drinking bleach way before Tide Pods.
Well, that was less about how delicious that fluid looked and more about just, suicide joke.
Yeah. that was a joke about people killing themselves. Anyway, back to Jurassic Hustle.
Jurassic Hustle.
Hustle is 65 million years in the making.
Let's talk about suicide by meteor.
Oh, what was it? Something about a meteor the other day.
Do you think that a meteor killed the dinosaurs?
I don't see any way other than that.
What if they were dead before the meteor got here?
Why would they be dead?
Poison in the Kool-Aid.
To be fair, Kool-Aid has been around for around 65 million years.
It could have been aliens.
How
The aliens could have killed the dinosaur and then dropped the meteor
I
afterwards.
can't believe I've never asked you about this. How do you feel about other intelligent life in the universe?
There's a good chance. Is there other intelligent life? Probably. Are we going to meet them? I'm a little more skeptical on that.
That's fair.
The universe is big enough that the odds are that there is intelligent life somewhere out there, but the odds of it being close enough proximity that we'd be able to contact them, at least in our lifetime, is unlikely.
Yeah. No, I would say that.
Well, there's like the theory, like if they were able to contact us with our current technology, they would have.
Yeah.
Or, like if they were interested in or something like
or that. Or just, my always theory is if they did, maybe they have something. For example, let's say we're a species that I would say 99% of our science and communication has to do with the electromagnetic spectrum. Yeah. So we manipulate radiation. That's kind of our deal.
That's really cool when you put it that way.
Yeah, that's what human beings, that's their niche. They manipulate radiation. That's how we communicate, more or less.
It's really good for you.
Well, depending on the radiation. If it's ionizing, yes.
It's like my parents and I were talking about like Chernobyl this weekend, and I kept doing that really thick Russian accent. It's like, there's no problem with Chernobyl. Radiation, not as bad as people think.
But because of the way we look and feel, I mean, we see a specific wavelength of radiation.
What amounts to an incredibly limited wave.
Yeah, actually very limited. But that's our thing.
Same thing with hearing. It's a very limited frequency.
Mm-hmm. That's our thing. Maybe another species operates more so on gravitational things. How they communicate is gravity in different ways. Because gravity has been decided it works as a wave, but it's a different type of wave. It's not it's not like the electromagnetic spectrum. And so what if there is another species, even, I don't know, on Europa, that has been shooting gravity at us forever?
I was just going to ask you, what if there was, like, what if a species has been trying to communicate with us this whole time?
Just not speaking our language.
And, we just have no, like, not even that, but, like, we can't even begin to decode the message or, like even figure out that there is a message being sent.
That's my thought, is that we tend to think that life is within our parameters. For example, we look to worlds with water because what we know about biology, that's how this works.
I mean, to be fair, the environment we grew up in, it could be considered as ideal.
Yeah,
for life to form, for like complex life to form. And I feel like there was something about like intelligent life forming on other planets and how our bipedal body arrangement is kind of like the ideal form.
Yeah.
For sapient life, I guess.
For sapient life, but I feel like there's probably other ways in the galaxy, I mean, universe, whatever. There are organisms that are doing just fine without eyes because in their environment they don't need them. Maybe they live on a world without really any light for some reason. Let's say they have a runaway greenhouse effect and it blocks a lot of their light, so they lose eyes over a while, and so seeing things is not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
They feel things. They feel vibrations. They use maybe sound waves. Maybe sound waves is their kind of big thing. Let's say you have an entire civilization, incredibly complex, and they maybe even more intelligent than us. But all of their stuff is based off sound. Sound doesn't travel through space. How are they going to communicate with the rest of the world, just the universe?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a very advanced civilization.
They probably don't even realize that there is anything out there.
Yeah, well, they probably do because they realize the sound is now left. They have machines and stuff like that. But they've been racking their brain trying to figure out how electromagnetics work. Where we know how it works, but we've been racking our brain trying to figure out how gravity works.
Yeah.
And so who's to say that our way is the right way? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense and seems very simple to us.
It only makes sense to us because that's all we know.
That's all we know.
If it were anything else, that would make perfect sense to us.
So, or there's, they say math is the universal language, but let's say
you still got to be able to convey mathematical concepts
into exactly
like the languages on Earth. Languages on Earth don't even have the same numeric characters.
Yeah. My big thing with that one is the best example. Have you ever heard of the book or seen the movie Contact?
No.
It's one of my favorite books. Sagan wrote the book. Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
And the movie is talking about intelligent life and how the alien society, and I'll leave that as kind of a cliffhanger because it's a really incredible movie. It's the whole debate of blind faith versus blind science, kind of. And they get contacted by this civilization, and they basically relay it in a series of beeps that are all prime numbers because they talk about the universal language of the universe being math. Math is constant throughout the universe or something like that. But maybe they're sending gravity out in beeps. And eventually, with the LIGO detectors and stuff like that, we're starting to pick up gravity, but we don't have stuff nearly fine-tuned enough to pick up anything in our solar system that isn't a giant black hole.
We'll say anything that's actually complex or subtle enough to be able to get past.
So that's my argument. Also, from what we know about life, carbon super helpful because of its size. It has a lot less steric hindrance than your silicon. But silicon does have the same properties as carbon in terms of how it binds.
Depending on what resources are available on that planet, that would probably dictate what sort of life forms.
Yeah, and so there's all kinds of different ways that I agree that we're probably an optimal version of life very easily because these things that happen in our bodies are actually very simple comparatively to a lot of reactions. I understand this is maybe the easiest form of life to develop, but I wouldn't say the easy way is
that being
necessarily
said, if we did discover aliens and they looked exactly like us, I'd be so mad.
That would be
I'd be so disappointed.
Yeah, you said I never even thought of that.
I mean, because you still, it's cool. We found new intelligent life, but it's just us.
Well, that would mean a lot. That would mean this is how life works. We are.
Well, it would give a lot of. Don't get me wrong. In terms of scientific achievement and discovery, it would be a huge deal to find alien life out there in the universe. Shows that we're not alone, and shows that this really is the ideal. You may not like it, but this is the ideal male ideal sapient body.
Yeah,
this is what peak intelligence looks like. But I still would be a little disappointed.
No, I get that.
Because I want to hook up with a freaky alien.
Well, I love it. Okay, so this is one of my favorite theories ever, and it is the one of the origins of life theories, and it's the cosmonaut theory, is what they call it. And
cosmonaut.
Yeah, I always laugh because it's the Russian name. It's the idea that some kind of alien seeded life on Earth and helped it continue.
Oh, like Prometheus.
Like Prometheus. But this specific theory, which is why I love it, isn't necessarily saying that they genetically engineered life.
They're not saying it was on purpose.
They came here, do what you do, and leave.
They did the nasty.
The nasty and the pasty.
A little bit of leavings got left over, and next thing you know, there's fish crawling out of the water.
What I love about that is the idea that something from another planet has enough compatibility with human or with organism DNA that would work. The way they explained it, I think they actually mentioned this on Ancient Aliens once.
I bet they'd be some real sexy aliens.
And I loved it.
I mean, like on a genetic, like on a subconscious genetic level, we'd probably think those aliens are real sexy.
I guess, but I like they're like. So you're saying to me that something from another planet that had a completely different biological origin can come here and be genetically compatible to a human, but like we can't bang a dandelion and have a kid.
I mean,
and it's from our.
Have you tried?
But it's from our planet.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, like, well, no, I mean, think about it. Like, even in nature, there are subspecies that are so divergent that they can't mate with each other. They can't cross.
Yeah, but that being said, you're saying
so,
this
like,
thing from another planet.
No, so what I'm saying is, like, we all come from this common ancestry. That's the theory, at least. But then, as time goes on, these different organism types, they diverge so heavily that the DNA gets switched around so much that they're no longer compatible.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like with what you're saying, all fish should be able to bang all fish, but they can't because there's just even the minute differences in genetics between the two different fish mean they can't bang. So you could look at it that way. And so like even something like even if like all life forms use the same DNA building blocks.
Yeah.
Even the differences between them, like any amount of differences is enough to prevent.
Yeah,
interbreeding.
and that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Like you can't bang chimps.
No, okay.
Believe me, that one guy tried, and look what happened in the 70s.
Anyway, that's not how that happened.
That's exactly how it happened.
Not how it happened. For anyone who's curious about the AIDS epidemic, it happened
actually,
because a man got
banged
the blood
a chimpanzee.
of the chimpanzee. There was a huge chimp meat trade during the time, and the blood from the chimpanzee got through into the human blood. And then that person had essentially a prototype AIDS, which was then carried and evolved in the human population.
Actually, before we get off the alien thing, I had a friend who brought it up because I also wanted to bring it up. Have you ever read the book Roadside Picnic?
I have never even heard of it.
Speaking of the cosmonaut theory, where maybe just random happenstance, the aliens decided to bang here and then create all life as we know it. Roadside Picnic is a Russian sci-fi novel that's about essentially like all these different like aliens show up to Earth, but it's like literally only for a split second. Like nobody even sees them, and they leave all these hot spots around the world called zones, which are where the aliens landed and did whatever and then left almost immediately. And their technology is so advanced that we can't even like really begin to understand a lot of the stuff they left behind. But the theory is that essentially everything we're picking up, all these alien artifacts, they're trash. They're like refuse. They literally. So like the idea is that they came to Earth, had a picnic, and then left their trash. And we are so boggled by their technology that they're like there's this whole black market, like underground economy where people go into these zones which are incredibly dangerous because like basically the laws of physics don't apply there, and so just weird stuff happens, and the only way you learn to avoid any of the hazards is just to remember where they are. That like you can't like if you touch anything weird or something like that, you could just randomly die. You could just die right there. But yeah, and so there's just this thriving like underground economy of just going in there, finding these relics and selling them to scientists and stuff because everybody is just so enamored with this trash.
No way.
And even the trash is light years ahead of anything we have. So it's like that idea where like the aliens didn't come to communicate with us, or they probably didn't even acknowledge that we were there. They probably didn't even realize that we were there and we were intelligent.
Huh.
Because they just saw this as a dumping ground, more or less.
Yeah, well, it's just a nice place.
It's a very Russian story because it's just very depressing. Nothing matters.
That's still really interesting. I've never...
Yeah, no, I would recommend checking it out. Like I said, it's kind of a depressing read, but it's still good. Roadside Picnic is actually the inspiration for the movie Stalker by...
I don't know the movie Stalker.
Tarkovsky. Have you ever heard of the game Stalker?
Mm-hmm.
Stalker the game is based on Stalker the movie, which is based on Roadside Picnic.
Really?
And then Stalker goes on to inspire stuff like Metro 2033 and the games like Shadow, Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat. They're all based on this original story. Yeah, it's really
That
interesting.
is really interesting. I'm
Yeah,
trying to piece it together in my brain.
All Stalker did, like the game, was change it from aliens landing to weird shenanigans at Chernobyl. Radiation shenanigans.
Which is the worst type of shenanigans.
It's no problem, comrade. You see, everybody pretend. Here's my public service announcement about radiation. Everybody pretend radiation real bad for you, but really, there's no problem. I experience many radiation every time I take tour to Chernobyl. Sometimes you grow extra tall, big deal. You buy a new pair of shoe. I grow extra finger. I hold things better.
Yeah, no, it's radiation is so strange.
Yeah, well, it kills everything.
Well, it does and it doesn't. I mean,
like seriously, like that's why you can use radiation to cure or like to treat cancer. It's not actually fixing anything. It's just killing everything.
Yeah, no, that's what it.
That's why you get really sick.
Yeah, no, that's. Well, basically, what you're doing is you're putting a radioactive isotope, so something that emits radiation.
You're getting radioactive particles that are basically just excited.
Yeah,
and they're moving so fast they're blowing a hole in your cells.
Yep.
And killing them.
They're murdering everything.
So it's like if you were just to take like a machine gun that could only target cells, and you were just to reenact that airport scene from Modern Warfare.
Oh, okay. Commercial break. Okay, we just had a brain bolt.
This is,
as they say in Jimmy Neutron.
Brain Blast. This is Jurassic Hustle, a hustle 65 million years in the making. As always, I'm your host, DJ Ed209. Please drop your weapons. You have 12 seconds to comply.
So this is DJ Drix, and what we were just talking about, we got from the aliens thing. We just realized how crazy it is that, like, do you know I've never talked about alien life. Like, we talk about the movie Alien and Predator.
We talk about
constantly.
Predator. We don't talk about actual
aliens. And that brought us to the idea of, wow, we'll never see these things in our lifetime, but we know what we might. Cybernetics.
Would you voluntarily have your limbs removed and replaced with robotics?
Are they better?
Yes. Because I feel like
instantly
people think I'm weird, but no, I always go for yes, absolutely.
Yes. If I knew,
and like you're like, oh, we can make them. They look just like your arms. No, I don't.
I want them to look sick.
I want to be chromed the f out.
Yeah, I'll admit, I want my torso to be normal, but my appendages, take them off.
I would get my torso replaced too. I'll keep the organs. Organs are the only thing you need to keep. Like I wouldn't mind getting the RoboCop treatment.
Yeah,
granted,
I see it.
Granted, you got to have some ability to still have tactile sense. I think.
Yeah,
that's my one hang up. Is like even if it's something really simple like pressure sensors.
Yeah,
pressure
some sort of haptic feedback.
Like you don't really process like heat and pain the same way you would if it were your normal limb.
Yeah,
but you still have a way to process that information.
Yeah, no, I
feel like that's the biggest obstacle.
After watching playing through it about 6 times, the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, that nothing has made me wanted to be a cyborg more than that.
What about nanomachines, son?
Nanomachines, son. Yeah. Hard in response to physical trauma.
But like I'm not really particularly attached to any like human part of my body.
Nope.
Like if you told me that like, hey, we figured out how to make these cybernetics work, if you come in tomorrow, we will make you look like the T-800.
Yeah.
I would be like, yes.
I'm in. Fair enough.
I just want to be a robo-skeleton.
Yeah, no,
because that's the coolest robot. That's one of the coolest robots in movies history.
Is like just the.
I personally think the T-800 is one of the coolest robots in like movie history. Like not in terms of like ability or utility.
That's what I was gonna say.
But I just think just because he looks cool.
Because he does look cool. Are you talking about like without the skin?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The skin.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a very cool looking dude. No, I'm talking the metal skeleton.
The metal skeleton. I always liked, what was it, the T9000 or T1000?
T1000
in T2.
Yeah,
I liked that one a lot.
It gets like as time went on, they got further away from the robot thing, which is like.
See, but I really like fact
your boy really needs the robots in his life.
I guess I really like the idea that his appendages had used past just appendages.
Yeah,
I didn't like what they did with the third movie, where she was basically just a blob.
It was half and half. I didn't understand how it worked.
Yeah,
because it
but
was like they put the liquid over the metal endoskeleton. So
but she could still melt into.
You lose the advantages of both, I guess.
Yeah, but no, I liked
What about Genesis, where it's just a big cloud of nano machines?
That movie didn't exist.
Nano machines,
son. But no, I liked T2's Terminator. I liked obviously Schwarzenegger better as a Terminator, but the actual thing itself, I was so much more afraid of the T-1000 than the T-800.
It's a lot scarier because like you can't because T-800s they're relatively easy to kill.
Yeah, they're there. That's what they are.
It's a tough skeleton.
Yeah,
but you can kill it. It doesn't repair itself.
Yeah, the other thing, like, not only can it repair itself, it can form different appendages.
Yeah, it can make. It doesn't even need a gun.
Yeah,
really.
Dude, the T-1000 was so terrifying. I was always like scared, but really like excited about it every time it was on screen.
Whenever there was like a horror movie thing that was like something, there's no way to even hurt this or kill it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even be scared anymore. I'd just be frustrated.
Yeah,
because I'm like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, it's gonna win.
This is stupid. Like that's why I don't like ghosts because you can't really fight a ghost.
Yeah,
unless you dip your fists in holy water and start swinging.
Just start punching it into the white mist.
But yeah. So I really like the T-800s. I like RoboCop, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. See, I was never a big fan, I guess this is kind of where we differ, of just the big hulking ones that are just strong. I was always a big fan of the fast twitch, like you're Raiden from Metal Gear Rising. More the utility of these things can push you farther and absorb more impact than normal.
That is cool. I don't know.
That was always my deal.
That makes more sense. That's honestly in the long run, that's probably what I'd want to go with. But I also am enamored with the idea of becoming the human equivalent of a T-34 tank.
Okay, I see that.
Just big, super.
See, I guess for me, I'm just looking for utility. Like those type of attacks, like yours are definitely. There's utility to them, but they're mostly for looks.
But to be fair, like if I could look like that and still be really fast, that'd be cool. But
see, mine is pure utility. Like if I want to pick up a bus, I can be just like screw it, pick up a bus. But I also could draw a picture.
I'm trying to think of like pure robots that I like pure, like purely robot, not like mech or like power armor. I'm thinking of like robots in movies that I like. I mean, like, is Jet Jaguar a robot? I think he's a robot. You know Jet Jaguar?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Jet Jaguar.
I mean, I can't think of anything that's not just like... I can't think of any humanoid bots I like. I like some robots. Like, obviously, your R2-D2, your C3...
prequel memes aside, I do really like the design of the Super Battle Droid.
Oh yeah.
No. You know what? What's the best robot? HK-47.
HK-47?
HK-47.
What's that?
From Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh.
They just call everybody meat bags.
I like the droidicas. I was always a huge...
You got to think about, like, what robot would you want to be?
Oh, I would never want to be a droidica.
I guess like cyborgs in general too. Like, from Deus Ex. Mm-hmm. You could be. I
just love the droidica because they were very much like a stable. Like you could just sit there, but then they could just roll away fast as hell.
Droidicas, as far as like robot designs go, droidicas make sense for the most part.
Yeah, Super Battle Droids do not. Like at all. As much as I love them.
As much as it pains me to say a bipedal robot, like combat robot, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you struggle? Why would you spend all your time
That's a handicap.
To make it balanced?
Yeah.
It took humans millions of years to get to the point where bipedal made more sense than moving on all fours.
Yeah. And that's just because of the way we're wired.
If
you could wire something differently that worked better bipedally, it doesn't have to breathe. That's a big reason we're bipedal. That's a huge reason. Is so we have the ability to breathe while we're running.
Yeah.
If something doesn't need to breathe, there's no point in making it bipedal.
Yeah.
So
even those dog robots they have now, I think are kind of pushing it.
I think what I really want is them to everyone's talking about the sex robots or humanoid robots and stuff like that. Do you know what I want?
Sex robot?
No, I want them to make those dog robots into real dogs. For people who can't take care of a dog,
you just give them a robot.
Yeah, give them a cute look because you could make the dog thing cute. You could put skin over it.
If they looked cooler, I would be more down with them.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
now, I think they look dumb.
That's the skeleton of it. You put fur. You make it look like a real dog, and that's your dog, and it acts the same. You could work on the AI that way. Yeah, maybe it'll kill you in your sleep, but I mean, a girlfriend could do that.
I mean, real dog could do that anyways.
Yeah.
But
no, but I really like that, and I like it for people who like want a dog but can't care for one. Like if they live in a small apartment or something, you don't have to take it for walks.
All you got to do is keep it plugged in.
Yeah.
If we're gonna put your brain in a robot body, how big would you want it to be?
7 foot.
7 foot?
7 foot.
I was thinking like 12.
Yeah, see that the problem is the world isn't built for 12-foot things.
Yeah, that's true. Like I keep forgetting, like, no, I got to go about my day-to-day life because I'm thinking like if you could just put me in the body of like a mech,
yeah,
that would be sick.
It'd be sick, except for the fact that, like I said, we're talking utility. And 7 foot is to the point where you're a giant. You are,
yeah,
but you're not like
you're functional.
You're functional, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Plus, as someone who's 5'9", dude, 7 foot sounds so cool.
I wish I was 7 foot.
Yeah, well, you're close.
I got 8 inches to go, baby.
I guess.
I wanted to be
Been
like
there, done that.
Actually, I wanted to hit another growth spurt and hit 6'8" because in the movie Predators, one of the dudes that plays one of the Predators was 6'8".
6'8",
and I'm like, oh, that must be the cutoff point.
Yeah,
if I can hit that, they'll cast me in the next Predator.
Yeah. No, I would definitely go, like, really, as much as I keep going back to it, the robot body from Metal Gear Rising: Revenge is what I would want.
To be fair, that is a really solid body.
Yeah,
he's got like heels, doesn't he?
Yeah, dude, totally. Yeah, the heels are stupid. The heels are so stupid. And
it's
I think,
why make it harder to balance?
Yeah, well, I think it's the fact that he has to carry his sword, because half of his sword work comes from his like ability to hold the sword with his foot for some reason. You know why that action actually happens, right?
Wait, what?
You know why he, like, most of his attacks are with his feet, where he holds the sword with his foot.
I don't actually remember that.
Yeah, that is your, in the game, there's fast attacks with your arms. All the ones where he's like on the ground, like doing a spin attack or whatever, those are him holding it with his foot.
Oh my god, every time I think about this game, it gets dumber.
And why that happens is in Metal Gear Solid 4, they cut off his arms. So he figures out how to sword fight with his feet.
Like before they become Robo Feet?
Yeah. Before they replace the rest of the Robo thing. Yeah.
Before they even are Robo Feet, he's fighting with his feet.
He's fighting with his feet.
That's so dumb.
And so he gets used to fighting that way. And so that's why that shows up. It's like a homage to the fourth game.
That's so dumb.
The game is amazing. You're so wrong.
So dumb.
You're so wrong. You couldn't be more wrong.
It's so stupid.
It is really dumb.
Oh man.
But no, the actual chassis from that is just super cool looking. Other than the feet, obviously.
Yeah.
But everything else, you have that like buff looking arm, but it doesn't look like it has muscle. It very much looks like muscle tissue, where it's like
it looks like a mix of like techno and technological
and organic.
And organic.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it because like there's so many different things you could do with a robot body, like in terms of like adding stuff, but you also got to figure out how would you wire that into your brain to make it, because like I feel like our brain is very much just wired to understand
us.
2 arms, 2 legs, and a neck.
Well, they do.
So I feel like if you put a human brain into any non-humanoid body, it would struggle.
What they tend to do for a scapegoat of that is they have some sort of neural implants that kind of acts as a second brain. So your brain more or less becomes the brain stem of our brain, and the actual higher thinking is done by this processor.
I mean, you would think it would be the other way around, where like the basic motor functions would be controlled by the neural implant, and then our higher functioning brain would be.
Oh, maybe it is that. Then.
So like you're still thinking with your brain, but like you have a secondary neural implant brain.
Yeah,
that
maybe it is that
covers your base body functions.
I know they do. They do both. So it's mainly for reflexes. That's the biggest thing.
Because I'm thinking like I can think and I can move my arm over here. I can wiggle my fingers around. I'm thinking if I were put into a body that was just 4 legs, no arms, I'm trying to think about how I would process moving in that body. Or even with no legs, just having like wheels.
You would figure it out though. The brain is very like. For example, if you...
I think for at least a good while, you would have to consciously think about it.
Oh, you would. No, definitely. But as these... Basically, how the brain works is you create a new brain function, essentially. Let's just call it a function for this sake. And originally you kind of have to push your way through the function every single time. Eventually, you clear out that function. You can call it, maybe, I don't know what you want to call it. It's eventually like a tunnel. If you built a tunnel between your house and someone else's, and you only saw each other once a week, there'd probably be dirt and stuff in the tunnel.
Yeah.
But if you went through every couple minutes,
eventually it'd get pretty
yeah,
clean.
and it's much easier, and you kind of do it without thinking.
That's true. Because I was
kind of how the new neurons are working.
Because basically the way I was going with it is I wouldn't mind having like an extra set of arms.
Fair.
Like just having like another smaller set of arms that you could, so then you could be like, you know, like big and scary looking, and then also have smaller arms for doing more dexterous things
and look like what's his name from
Goro
from
I had that,
Mortal Kombat.
I didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, I had that in the back of my pocket. Also another friend of mine listening, DJ Ginger Sherbert, is what I'm gonna call him, said the Crisis suit from Crisis.
Oh, dude, nice.
That would be a cool,
solid contribution.
Because you're basically a cyborg at that point because you can't take the suit off.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I do like that as well, but that kind of, I feel like that's cybernetic at that point.
Yeah, no, it's nanomachines.
Nanomachines, son.
So,
yeah,
like that's a good blend of organic and technological because
I'm really interested. And this is kind of, we only have like 10 minutes left, and actually we should be leaving in like 5.
I didn't even realize that.
But are you familiar with the concept of the singularity? Not a singularity, but the singularity.
What are you talking about? The concept where like eventually computers and machines will get so advanced that they will design better versions of themselves?
More or less. That we
will be made obsolete by our own technology.
That, and the idea also that we will become indistinguishable from robots. Like, we'll become so integrated, we'll have so many things in our body that you really can't tell where the human starts and the machine begins.
I can't wait.
And that terrifies me, but I'm also really interested in it.
Because I mean that is like I feel like that is the logical conclusion to evolution, is getting to the point where it's not nature doing it, it's us. Where we're taking the initiative on
which we're basically there. We very, very little.
We're in a very primitive state right now.
Yeah,
of that, but
especially with the gene editing on the horizon
as
now.
As time goes on, my only hope is that this genetic manipulation and stuff doesn't outpace robotics. Because if I have to pick between gene therapy and the robo limbs.
Robo-limbs every time.
The robo-limb's gonna win every time.
Yeah, no, that makes me sad. Now because my degree is essentially in genetic engineering and gene editing.
I'm sorry, Dom, but you're compared to the robots.
I agree.
Honestly,
no, I agree.
The reason I ever considered being a mechanical engineer is because I wanted to build robots.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
And I wanted to put my body or my brain in a robot body.
Yeah. No, I'm really interested. What's his name? The guy who he's estimated and made good predictions on a lot of the technology we currently have. I can't remember his name.
Is it Michio Kaku?
I don't know. I thought it started with a K.
Oh, maybe.
I don't remember. Regardless, he's estimating the singularity will happen in 100 years.
We get to live to that.
And that's what I'm saying.
We can live to that.
We'll live till that.
Yeah. All we gotta do is hold out long.
We gotta hold out till 2010s.
Long enough until they're like, Grandpa, we're gonna put your brain in a robot body, and I'm gonna be like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is once we've found that, we've essentially found immortality.
Yeah.
So.
And then we can kill each other indefinitely.
Have you ever seen, as much as I like the meme of Ricard and Mortimer, have you ever seen the Whirly Durly conspiracy episode?
Yeah, where they go to the
place
where you could just kill anybody,
and
they just instantly get resurrected.
I like that. I like that scene a lot. I think that's really interesting as a concept.
That's an interesting concept.
Because in the future,
that's trapped in a mediocre show about memes.
Yeah. In the future, if we have all of this essentially non-permanence of an organism, you can just copy yourself into a new body. Yeah, Mike.
Have you seen Altered Carbon on Netflix?
I have not.
I watched that whole series actually. That's
essentially this.
Ginger Sherbert just brought it up again actually, but
yeah.
No, I it's kind of that concept where your consciousness is just kept in a digital format, and as long as you have the money, you can basically live forever. And
Yeah.
and like the thing is like the upper class of that society, like the 1%,
Yeah.
are so rich that not only are they constantly getting new bodies, they're making exact clones of their bodies. Where everyone else is basically you get whatever body's available.
Yeah.
They have whole stores of clones, so like if something happens, they can just it's like nothing even happened. And even if like their digital personality, like the chip it's stored on gets destroyed, they have digital backups that they just download onto another chip and insert it into the body, and it's like nothing happened.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, we should probably wrap it up. We don't want to.
I don't want to get
the
we
boot.
don't want to upset anybody here.
Anybody. Since we're not upsetting anybody, this will be our last couple moments of the show. Thank you guys all for listening tonight.
Yeah, thanks again to everybody for listening. We really appreciate it.
And that's it for me.
That's all I got. We'll see you all next week.